Welcome to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerry Barber. Mr. Barber is a preacher, a ventriloquist, a barefoot runner, and writes 2 blogs. When Jerry communicates, he encourages people, try not to learn very much. Find a mustard seed. In the next few minutes, try not to learn very much. Look for something you can do to move a mountain, remove a stumbling block, or provide a stepping stone for yourself or someone else. And now, here's Jerry with this week's mustard seed.
Today I'm sharing some of the most helpful principles I've read about investing. It's called Bob Farrell's 10 Rules for Investing. According to realinvestmentadvice.com, Bob was a Wall Street veteran with over 50 years of experience crafting his investing rules. Farrell obtained his master's degree from Columbia Business School and started as a technical analyst at Merrill Lynch in 1957. Even though Farrell studied fundamental analysis, he realized there was more to stock prices than balance sheets and income statements. Farrell became a pioneer in sentiment studies and market psychology. His 10 rules on investing stem from personal experience with dull markets, bull markets, bear markets, crashes, and bubbles. In short, Farrell saw it all and lived to tell about it. Bob Farrell's 10 Rules for Investing. After each number is Bob's rule. Following that is my commentary. 1. Markets tend to return to the mean over time. Go to Google and look at a long-term Dow Jones average chart. Notice there are many ups and downs. However, also notice that the line has continued to go up for decades and decades. There will be bear markets and bull markets, but both have continued to average higher over the years. 2. Excesses in one direction will lead to an opposite excess in the other direction. Newton's third law of motions is in the stock market as well as in physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. 3. There are no new errors. Excesses are never permanent. I remember the 1990s when people said, we're in a new age. The old rules don't apply anymore. They told us that things will never be the same since electronics, personal computers, and the internet have been invented. Those stocks were continuing to climb. However, there was a burst in the bubble, and it was not a new age in investing. 4. Exponential, rapidly rising or falling markets usually go further than you think, but they do not correct by going sideways. This is a repeat of number 2. The market never goes in the same direction continually. 5. The public buys the most at the top and the least at the bottom. Most people get in too late and sell on the way down. 6. Fear and greed are stronger than long-term resolve. This is one of my mustard seeds on the list. Most people buy and sell because they think they can time the market and guess what they need to do. This is my second mustard seed. 7. Markets are stronger when they are broad and weaker when they narrow to a handful of blue-chip names. An investor needs to look at the entire market and not just the number at the close of each day. 8. Bear markets have 3 stages: sharp down, reflexive rebounds, and a drawn-out fundamental downtrend. No one knows when the market will continue to go up or down. A jump in either direction could be a short correction. 9. When all the experts and forecast agree something else is going to happen. This is an interesting observation. When all the experts and forecasts agree, something else will happen. Bob Farrell didn't say it, but it's true. Something else will happen when all the experts and forecasts disagree. The economy is continually adjusting. 10. Bull markets are more fun than bear markets. This is another way to say it's more fun to win than to lose. In NASDAQ.com, this observation is made. Over Farrell's 45-year career at Merrill Lynch, he saw bull markets, bear markets, and everything in between. While investors can educate themselves by reading books or attending seminars, nothing beats decades of seat time. Through his successful and deep experience, Farrell's rules challenge investors to study history, the madness of crowd, and their inherent humanness and emotions. My two mustard seeds are numbers 5 and 6. 5, the public buys the most at the top and the least at the bottom. 6, fear and greed are stronger than long-term resolve. I had a friend who exemplified those two principles in the community where I lived for over a decade. He heard about the stock market, he got excited when it was going up rapidly and bought stocks or mutual funds. When the market started to fall, he got scared and began selling his stock. He bought at the top and sold at the bottom. He bought expensive and sold cheap. That is a guaranteed way to lose money. What I learned from those two rules is that as long as most people invest with emotion, I can do well by having a plan and following it, regardless of how I feel about the present condition of the economy. I've had a plan of investing, regardless of whether the stock market's last few days, weeks, or months are up or down. I don't ask about how I feel about the market's future. I have a plan and make investments according to the amount in my budget to be invested. I don't check and see how I feel about the economy's direction. I have two suggestions. 1, learn something about how money in the markets work. I read some helpful books. I'll put some of those in the show notes. I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal for several years when I started investing. I skimmed each paper and read each article that seemed to apply to me. I read several different magazines during those years. 2, ask for help for someone who knows more about investing than you do. A few years ago, I selected a financial advisor that I trusted. I'd talked with him and discussed finances and markets for 10 years. What he had said seemed to agree with what I'd been reading. I meet with him, discuss my investments, and listen to his thoughts about the upcoming months in the market. Jesus talked a lot about money in his teaching. Some observe that he said more about money than any other subject. We are stewards of everything he entrusts to us. The parable of the talents is clear about that. He said in Luke 16:10 and 11, "One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If you have not been faithful in unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you with the true riches?" One of the first financial principles I learned and practiced was to give liberally and consistently and to plan prayerfully and carefully how to allocate the rest. May we obey Jesus' words and trust his promises in this area of our life. Matthew 6:33, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you."
Thank you for listening to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerry Barber. If you found a mustard seed, send a text or email with a link to a friend. This podcast was brought to you by Braden Parsons Photography. From family photos to landscape photography and everything in between, Braden uses his passion for capturing meaningful moments to create art and embody memories that will be cherished for a lifetime. Whether you want photos for your family, an event, or even want to browse Braden's portfolio for prints you can buy as art for your home or office, go to bradenparsons.com to explore the creativity and inspiration that comes from Braden Parsons Photography. You can also contact Braden directly at bradencparsons@gmail.com to discuss how to turn your photography needs into your most adored keepsakes. There are links in the show notes to connect with Braden. Thank you for listening. Jerry looks forward to next week as we continue to collect and plant mustard seeds.